Welcome everyone to a new little segment on here that I call Cartoon Catch-Up. I love animated shows and cartoons more than most live action shows. Might be my autism, but I prefer the artistic depiction of things much more than someone acting things out in real life and buying expensive cameras and acting with emotions with their actual face.
My dog stepped on a bee.
Who is this for? I don't care about your emotions in your face. And according to the latest poll on this channel, I see that you guys agree. Good. Who better to tell you about all these animated gems than your favorite Squid Boy, who also watches cartoons all day? So here is a list of the cartoons that came out this year so far. Well, the ones that I thought to include. Alright, let's get right into it. The big story. Adventure Time is back, baby. Adventure Time. Adventures of Fiona and Cake. What? Fiona and Cake? Why is that good? Aren't they just a gender-swapped version of the main duo? Well, kind of. Does this lazy concept deserve a show of its own? Hell no. And yet, it's amazing. The way they created this show to connect the Fiona and Cake universe with the general Adventure Time universe is brilliant and really intriguing. I don't want to get into spoilers here, but I'll make another video on this when the season is done. Okay, so Fiona and Cake are real, but now they're stuck in a world without magic, and they hate it. They just can't seem to fit in. In their dreams, they still go on crazy adventures with a sexy ice prince. But then the reality comes and they gotta work 9 to 5. But all this time they know that there's gotta be more out there. And they're right, they eventually end up going to the world of Adventure Time. Will they find out what illegal magic has brought them to life from the Ice King's fantasy? Well, go and watch it to find out. Anyways, Adventure Time has tons of seasons, and there was a prequel season as well, which was kinda strange, but now Fiona and Cake are caught up to the Adventure Time lore where characters died and other things change. So if you cared about spoilers, you'd have to binge the entire show, you weirdo. But to me it seems that the Fiona and Cake season is a good enough starting point to just start watching there. It definitely has less filler than the regular Adventure Time. Oh, and this version is slightly more adult. Or should I say, more grotesque? Watch out for cartoon blood and gore. I can take it or leave it, but it's interesting to see that the themes have gotten so much darker. Another show that is back after a really long time is Futurama. It started out with a fairly good episode, but then the rest is rather hit or miss, with the COVID episode being particularly cringe, but then followed up immediately with a much better episode, Zap Brannigan Gets Cancelled. But much more importantly, Disenchantment had a new season, which is in my opinion much better than what Futurama had to offer this year so far. I know, Disenchantment can seem pretty cringe. Sure, it's not quite as funny at first, but when it comes to storytelling, I think that it's far superior to Futurama.
Ain't you that lady who kisses fishes?
Mermaids ain't fishes. I don't know what they are.
I'd rather stay in here then.
Your call. Slam.
I love how this show just has full consistency and all the dumb jokes, like for example the ogre with daggers in his eyes, return later, and it's just an amazing fun story. Sadly, it seems that this was the final season of Disenchantment, but at least it won't be left to wallow in mediocrity like The Simpsons or Futurama. It told the story it wanted to tell and now it is over. Not bad. If you ever want to binge 5 seasons of a relatively good fantasy show, here you go. Either this or She-Ra. The next show I want to talk about is Captain Fall, which can also be found on Netflix. It's a show about the worst naval captain in history who lucked out and gets put in charge of a massive luxury cruise liner. But unknown to him, he is actually just a puppet and a fall guy for an evil cartel which is conducting human trafficking and much worse on his ship which he is obliviously playing captain of. Okay, this may not sound like an interesting premise, but the show is truly amazing. The way these characters evolve and get explored by the story is very good. Sadly, there are still some really lame jokes now and then.
Remove your night vision goggles. I repeat, remove the night vision goggles.
This better work, Mr. Know-It-All Vision Expert. Okay, fine.
And everyone seems to be operating at an IQ under 90, but it's still a really good show and I'm unusually hyped for a second season. Will Captain Fall ever find out about the evil things that are happening on his ship? Will his kind-hearted foolishness persuade the hardened criminals to change their ways? Or will he just be another victim to their crimes? Either way, let me tell you about my favorite episode. The cartel has set up this meeting between a Yakuza boss and an African warlord. The warlord wants to sell the services of his highly trained mercenary child soldiers, but he fumbles the presentation. Who can save this deal? Well, our oblivious captain hears that there are children on board and he decides to go all out and dress up in a bunny outfit. This is probably the most hilarious thing that I have seen in a while. Look at this man-child trying to entertain these hardened child soldiers who have never even as much as seen a clown. One of these soldiers almost kills him, but he is not deterred. This is actually kind of surprising that these soldiers don't have better discipline, but whatever. He's just trying his best to please these kids, until in the end he finally gets everyone to cut loose just a little bit, just long enough for the stuck-up Yakuza businessmen to accept the deal, so that the day is saved by the actions of our unlikely hero. Well, that's definitely my favorite episode. If you didn't find that exciting, you probably won't enjoy this show very much, but I don't know how you could possibly not find that funny. Unless maybe it was my delivery. Maybe. Next up, This World Can't Tear Me Down. A Netflix writer and cartoonist from Rome faces many moral dilemmas as he tries to fight the increasing far-right activities in his town without seeming too unhinged and losing his movie deal. Even E-Rich and Weekend Warrior loved it, and they hardly have time to watch cartoons.
Can't enjoy fuck all because you have rubble all around you, and what fucking scavenger is okay in the rubble?
My Dad the Bounty Hunter. Now with season 2. Sadly, the second season wasn't as good as the ending of the first season, but it was still mostly fun. In the first season, the kids stow away on a dead spaceship who is trying to keep his space-traveling bounty hunting a secret from his Earth-based family. Some goofy antics happen as the kids keep getting in trouble, but in the end it turns out that the dad was actually working for the bad guys all along, and the kids try to convince him to free a forced labor mine with cute animals as prisoners. It was really interesting. But then in season 2 the writing quality takes a huge hit in quality and the kids eventually discover that they were actually related to Space Wakanda and they have to fight against the corporation with spears. Sorry, but this is just stupid. But then the solution was in your magical blood and the space black people wielding medieval weapons. Were you even trying? Well, I guess we don't have to worry about the fact that you started a war with a galaxy-wide evil corporation. They actually completely forgot about you, but instead you're busy exploring your boring space heritage, which is literally just pulled out of your own butts at this point. Well, let's hope season 3 gets better. I mean, it probably will. These new family dynamics are vaguely interesting. I just wish the narrative had stayed as interesting as it was with the evil corporation being an actual threat. Imagine if you could just win against colonialism by using spears. Throughout human history we tried that many times and it never worked because they had gunpowder. Next up on Cartoon Catch-Up. Dragon Prince was back a few months ago at its usual quality. Definitely recommended. I especially like the use of dark magic. It's a little silly at times, but it has a lot of heart. Sadly, in this last season they had several scenes where people risked their life and limb trying to save this ridiculous pug toad. And that really took me out of the immersion. It was so stupid. One of these characters even got seriously injured and risked her life. What the fuck? It's just a stupid dog toad. Let it die. Why are you so stupid? And this happens twice in this show, just this season. Another time there's this pirate captain and he's like, yep, I'll give you everything that you wanted and I'll help you save the world. But that pug toad is mine. And the guy's like, nope, saving the world? That's not more important than my hideous pet. So dumb. Man, what is it with people and pets? Cartoon Catch-Up. My Adventures with Superman. It's really good. Why is it like an anime version of Superman? It does look like Western animation, doesn't it? It didn't start out at the highest quality, but at the end of season 1 I am definitely hooked to get more. Definitely the best Superman origin I've ever seen. Might even be the best of all Superman stories ever. I mean, what else is there? The Man of Steel movie? Lame. Yeah, if you like Superman, you should definitely watch this fun, light-hearted adventure. Cartoon Catch-Up. Lower Decks. This one is really fun, very comedy-based, but still very true to the Star Trek source material. What if Star Trek, but it's experienced from the perspective of the crews working the less important jobs? In general, it's a pretty solid show. Always a fairly good time. It's good that the Star Trek universe is getting more time to flesh out the little people. What is it like to live a small life in a world of crazy sci-fi things happening all the time? Life-threatening things happening, but nobody has the time to worry about that. Sounds good, doesn't it? Focusing on the small stories. But I don't think that's what we're seeing anymore after Season 3. I don't think these characters are some meaningless grunts anymore. They're young and full of potential. They're not stuck in their mundane life, they're just starting out, ready to work their way up to a leadership role. So in a way this story feels undermined by the fact that it is more important than it's trying to present itself as. In this season all the characters got promoted and they no longer have to sleep in the bunk beds in the hall. So they are really stepping up their place in the world. Either way, it's definitely worth watching, a comedy adaptation of a more serious source material done right.
Boimler, make sure you shower first. Holodeck duty.
Your odor will be repulsive.
Oh, thank you so much, Talin.
You are welcome.
Next show, Solar Opposites. I was never particularly sold on this show. Justin Roiland just took most of Rick's character traits and all of Rick's voice to create Corvo.
Right, Terry. I'm switching on the neutronium diode. This thing's a temperamental little slut. Right, Terry. I'm switching on the neutronium diode. This thing's a temperamental little slut.
One of the main characters in this show, and that really rubbed me the wrong way. Lazy-ass Rick and Morty ripoff. But in this season, they actually replaced Justin Roiland for all his sins. And yeah, that's not great, kicking the man from his own show, but I can't deny that this new voice makes so much more sense for the character.
I told you not to throw metal around here. We're going to be late to work. Stop buggering about. Let's get a move on. I hate being late. It makes me feel hot and weird.
You make me feel hot and weird.
What was that?
Nothing. Coming, sweetie.
Corvo is a much more serious character than Rick, and he is a lover, not a curmudgeon like Rick. So this new British accent seems to feel right for the character. I know, this is controversial. Oh well. Honestly, if you look at the chemistry between the two male leads in the past and now, come on. I will never believe that anyone with Rick's voice is a sincere lover. Oh, also, Rick and Morty Season 7 comes out in a month, so don't miss it, it's the best show in the world. By the way, on my main channel I got a video series discussing each episode of Rick and Morty, and I got a new part of that coming out soon, so check out my main channel and go watch the other 3 videos of the series now. It's a breakdown of each season of Rick and Morty. Tell me if you liked this list of cartoons that I enjoyed this year. If you hit the like button and give me a lot of views, I can make more videos like this. I mean specifically like this, unlike my other videos which are like podcasts and rants and whatever, you know. There are so many good cartoons coming out all the time and I probably forgot some of them. Oh yeah, like Beavis and Butthead, Season 2. Yeah, it was actually rebooted, isn't that crazy? And I really enjoyed it, but it's not really worth binging because it's like mind-blowingly stupid most of the time, but also kind of fun. I don't know, you know Beavis and Butthead, it's the same as it always was, but now it's got a better art style, but they still kept that same stupid thing where Beavis and Butthead just watch TV for like half the show, and it literally just shows the music video and them commenting over it. It's beyond me how they made that stupid choice, but I guess it fits perfectly for this stupid show, which is why I don't recommend Beavis and Butthead the show. I recommend Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, the movie. It was really good and worth a watch, and it actually has a storyline, and it doesn't have stupid music videos playing. You should watch that one. If you don't hit that like button, I'll watch this cartoon pug die without risking my life to save it. Wouldn't that be bad? Oh, also Archer is back, and it's still good. The season is still in progress. I mean, it's Archer. Like, you've seen one episode, you've seen them all, but I don't know. I still find it really worth a binge, you know? Up to you.
If we can find even a shred of DNA, I can bring them back. In the bodies of dogs. Any dog you want. Collies, Labradors, pugs.